because the Rambam and the Ravid. I just want to say over something before we get to Reb Tzadok, that on Friday night, I spoke in Shul about what seems to be a machlokes, the Rambam and the Ravid, regarding the Rambam's about Mashiach. I just want to say very quickly, the Rambam says that in Hilchos Malachim, the very end of Hilchos Malachim, the Rambam says that Mashiach's times, when Mashiach comes, it'll be very similar to the way it is now. There won't be any shinui in the way the world works. Things go from a high place to a low place, that'll still continue. Natural teva will still continue. So he brings a number of psukim that seem to indicate not that way. That Torah says that sheep will live with wolves. Yeshayahu said all kinds of miracles of the Zman HaMashiach. So the Rambam says that it's only a mashal and a malitza. It's not to be taken literally. It's a mashal. See, all these things that the Nevi'im said, even ad kadei lo yisa goy el goy cherev, it's not a reality that there won't be any wars anymore. It'll be hoylem kimin hagay hoylech, but the difference will be that there won't be any anti-Semitism, and people will respect HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the ikar of Mashiach. The Ravid argues with the Rambam. The Ravid argues with the Rambam, and he says it can't be true. He says because it says right in our parsha, b'chukoisai, v'ishbati chaya oretz, chaya ra mikerev haaretz, that wild animals will no longer walk the streets of Eretz Yisrael. So what if? So he says, so you see that the Rambam is wrong. You see that has to be taken literally. So first of all, what's the Ravid's kasha? Why does it have to be taken literally? You could say the same thing. In fact, some of the Mefarshim say in that pasuk that it means that there won't be terrorists walking around the streets of Eretz Yisrael. Chayira is not what we're talking about wolves and bears and lions. It's talking about lone wolves. Yeah. Ishbati chayira mikarev haaretz. Second of all, like what? So and if you do take it literally, what's the kasha? So the Rambam will find a mashal for that too. I mean, why is that a kasha? All the Rambam is saying, Rambam brought 8 psukim, so he brings one pasuk. So what's the Rambam is asking bigger kashas on himself than the Ravid's asking. So I pointed out that the machlokes seems to be the Rambam and the Ravid, whether how to read the Chumash, meaning even though with all of the psukim that the Rambam brought, they're all from Navi. And in Navi, there's some wiggle room there to say that it was a mashal, because the Rambam says in other places that Nevi'im don't see things 100% clearly, or in the words of Chazal, it's aspaklar yesheina me'ira. So if it's aspaklar yesheina me'ira, so it could be that they wanted to give a mashal to the people. They couldn't define exactly what they were seeing and what they were prophesizing. It was a nevuah. A nevuah is like in the gather of almost a regesh that a Navi has, and he's trying to articulate it, so you can't articulate exactly what you saw. It's like trying to explain a dream. Mashen came by Moshe Rabbeinu, says I, Mashen came by Moshe Rabbeinu is b'marav v'loy b'chidos. There was no mashal. And again, in the words of Chazal, Moshe Rabbeinu saw spaklar me'ira. Meaning there's no room in the Chumash to interpret it as a mashal. So the Ravid says to the Rambam that okay, you're bringing me psukim in Tanakh that says that there's no that there's no change in the olam, but in the minhagei shel olam Mashiach comes. But you see in the Chumash that there is a change, and in the Chumash you can't change and say it's a mashal malitza. Meaning that what the Ravid understood is that in the Chumash you can't say something is a mashal. Chumash it's dvarim k'moshehu. Even though Chazal add or interpret certain things like ayin tachas ayin, which shouldn't be taken literally, it means mammon. Okay, maybe if there's a mefurish Chazal, they had a Kabbalah, that's what the translation is. But if you're just saying drushes to say that it's a mashal malitza, once you start saying, and I understand this by the way, once you start saying don't take the Torah literally, it's just a mashal, you get into a very dangerous area. So Bishloi were the nevuahs of the Tanakh, of Yeshayahu and Yirmiyahu and Micha. So, okay, don't take it literally, maybe it means this. The Rambam says very interestingly, he says that nobody will even know what these Mishalim means until it happens, and they'll say, oh, that's it, like in hindsight, that was it. But the Chumash is the Torah. The Torah you have to take literally, and that's it. That's what the Rambam says. The Rambam obviously disagrees with that because he says, he doesn't bring this pasuk, and he says that there will be no difference between Yemais HaMashiach and nowadays. Everything will be natural. So you do have that Machlokes the Rambam and the Ravid. So somebody pointed out afterwards that l'chayra, this is the Rambam and Ravid l'shitasei that we learned a couple of days ago, because the Rambam says that anybody who holds that Hashem has a guf, any corporeality attributed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is a kaifer be'ikr. So says the Rambam, or hareza min. Now the Rambam, as I pointed out, is not basing himself on any Gemara, he's not basing himself on any Medrash, he's just saying that it's philosophically untenable to say that Hashem has a body. We agree, everybody agrees, it's philosophically untenable. But the Ravid comes along and says, yeah, that's very good, but it says in the Torah, Yad Hashem, Elei Hashem, Plei Hashem, Yodaya, Hanatuya, Zroya, all the different, even Raglei Hashem. All these things say. So what the Ravid is saying, Lishitasai, is how could you go ahead and say that? What do you say? You can't argue with Psukim of the Torah. I have a kasha that's philosophically untenable, so good. We're starting for a kasha. Like you can't go ahead and say a new shot and revise and reorganize and redefine the Torah because you don't understand it. So even though it doesn't mean that the Ravid thinks that Hashem does have a body, but the Ravid does think you can't argue with Psukim of the Torah. The Torah says that Hashem has ki'ilu a body, he has a body. So you need to work with that. But the Rambam's Lashita, so he's saying no, even in the Chumash you could reinterpret, and you could say that it's a mashal melitza. So you have somebody pointed out after by Friday night Shiur that you see Babish the Achlaimed the Rambam the Ravid Lashita, and there's many other places, but here's the one that we're learning. I don't even think of it. It's a davar pashut that whether you can say the Yad Hashem is a mashal or not. So want to mention that. I would mention it b'shem Omer, but I don't remember who told me. Somebody was gone after davening. I don't remember exactly who said this. But if you have a smartphone, chas v'sholom,
not so smart.
So I sent you the words of Reb Tzadok. It would be better if we learn it together. Where did I start? Lefichach? V'hinei. V'hinei abriya ratza Hashem yisbarach.
No.
Hinei kol nefesh
Zebir. You need gam kol abriya kula.
Just 1 second. Let's get on the same page here. Are you up to the top? The first one I said?
Started off with Zebir. Oh. Zebir.
V'zebir b'dvar hashamayim nasu. Dvar Hashem shamayim nasu. He says, I'm going to explain to you. It's a beautiful Maimer and Reb Tzadok. It's worth learning these words. Hinei bir b'dvar Hashem shamayim nasu. With the words of Hashem, shamayim nasu. La'olam dvarai nitzav b'shamayim. That's the pasuk. La'olam dvarai nitzav b'shamayim. What's the pshat? Ki hadibur shel Hashem yisbarach hu atzmai hakoyach hahu shel Hashem yisbarach b'his galos. Dibur, we need to understand, dibur is a gilui of what's bifnim, yeah? In other words, if I'm talking, if I'm quiet, you don't know what I'm thinking. If I'm talking, you know what I'm thinking. So dibur is a gilui of what's going on bifnim. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks, that's a gilui of the pnimius kiviyachol of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You see what's going on in the deepest inner place of HaKadosh Baruch Hu by his dibur. You can see where a person's coming from by even the attitude in his voice. He's argumentative. He's ready for war. He's ready for peace. From the tone of voice. L'miskaber yuduber b'kol v'zaf ad shenikr mikol hadibur shual ininahu ki yotze b'yakiyadu l'meiben. Everyone knows that the voice and dibur is a reflection of what's going on within the person. Why are you talking like that? Right? So that's the v'hu abayre v'hu anoisen kiyam v'chiyus lo'isay kayach shebabriya. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'dvar Hashem shemayim nasu means that or let's say it easier, what we say in Pirkei Avos, that Basarim Amaris Nivra Olam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world with dibur. So it comes out that the dibur of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yehior, Nasa Adam B'Tzalmeinu, so that was a gilui of the pnimius of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You understand this? In other words, there's a gilui. Who knows anything about the pnimius of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? But there's some kind of a gilui of the pnimius of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hu habayre, who anoisen kiyam v'chiyus lo'isa koyach shebabriya. This is so this is what it means. What we're beginning to understand is what it means that Hashem is in the Briah. So this is not a pantheistic idea at all. It's just that what Hashem put into the Briah is a gilui of what's bifnim. So as much as we're able to understand the Briah, that's as much as we're able to understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's much more to it than that, but as much as we're able to understand the Briah, we can understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When Nimsa comes out, Hashem Yisbarach Kollel is Kollel Olam. There's nothing in the world that didn't come from Hashem. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you can look at the world and you can say that this is a something that the Starbucks here is a bit of a gilui of some type of nimius of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm using a mashal, it's easy to understand. V'nimsa she'Hashem Yisbarach Kollel is Kol Olam Ratzlamer Kol HaKoichos HaNivraim Shezehu Olam HaRuchni V'hu Kamay Nefesh U'Neshama L'Chol Koichos Prati Sheba'olam HaGashmi. So what you have here on a deep level, and I'm just going to say the words and I'll let you understand it the way you want, but you have just like you have the goof and the nefesh and the neshama. The goof is the expression of the nefesh is an expression of the neshama. So the same thing, the world is an expression of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Something new. The world is an expression of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kamay she'akol yodim, just like everybody knows, sheyesh nefesh la'adam, va'nefesh hi mamish dugmas haguf, hagashmi. Did everyone know that? That the nefesh, person has a nefesh, everybody knows this, that a person has a nefesh, and the nefesh is a dmus, a nefesh hi mamish dugmas haguf, hagashmi. B'chol prate kechaysav. Rakshem ruchnim built in nechbashim begeshem, except they're not physical. Meaning, I presume he means that person's angry, so they go and they punch the wall. But that anger is within the nefesh also, within the psychology of a person is that anger. It's already there. You can even if he doesn't actually punch anybody, it's already there. The anger is there. The love can be there. So all the things that the goof does, it starts in the nefesh.
What does it mean, dugma, in this context?
Meaning what we're doing. What does it mean, dugma? What we're doing is not a ma'aseh koif ba'alma. What we're doing is an expression of what's inside of us. The reason why we're responsible for what we do is because what we do tells us. Let's say it this way: Bais Din won't be mechayiv somebody for killing somebody. B'haraya. You kill somebody ba'inus, you're not chayiv. I killed somebody, so it's not the goof. What you're being chayiv for is for the nefesh. So from the goof, from the maisa, you can tell it's a dugma of what's going on with the nefesh. Was it premeditated? Was it anger?
He's saying the other way around. He's saying the nefesh is the dugma for the goof.
Yeah. I mean, I think, okay, maybe he means it's parallel. But you can't, right? You can't possibly touch up the nefesh. It's not something which you can see. It's not something you can prove. You can only look at the maisa. It has to come out in the maisa. Kach yesh nefesh l'chol geshem. So the same thing is true of every bria that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made. Ratzah loymar koichai haruchani asher boihu mugdar k'moshin yisbar le'el. V'nishmas hakol. So just like we can understand that the nefesh and the neshama are creating the movements of the goof, so we can also understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the neshama of the world, and what's going on in the world of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is really what's making everything work over here. It's a new Geder and Hakol B'dei Shemayim Chutz Me'ir Shemayim. V'nishmas Hakol Hashem Yisbarach V'nimsa comes out Hashem Yisbarach Kollel Olam Malei Ruchni Kizeh Hagashmi Anir Olanu. So if you'll say that it's just a mashal, meaning the mashal is this, it's a deep mashal. The mashal is that what's really important is not what we do and what we don't do. What's really important is what's motivating it from the inside, right? Sometimes even a person makes a mistake, they do something wrong, but you meant well. Ratzon. You meant well. So you meant well. So the kavanah sadvarim is even stronger than the davar itself. So now, just k'dugma zu mamish, you have the whole world, everything that we know about the world, all of science and all of humanity and peace and war. It's all an expression and a reflection of what's going on in the Shemayim. Because just like what we do is a reflection of what's going on inside of us, so what the world is a reflection. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the neshama and the nefesh of the world. B'dvar Hashem no Shemayim nasu. That's the taich, that he made the world with his dibur. The dibur is only in everything that's going on, and it's forever like that, because Dvar Hashem nitzav b'shamayim. The dibur is forever. It's not just it was, by Hiyar. It's a forever by Hiyar. The Nefesh Hachaim speaks about this in Shaar Aleph, that there's a constant creation. And this is the pasuk he brings. Dvar Hashem nitzav b'shamayim. Those words are eternal words. So whatever you see is going. So you open up the internet today, and you'll see what's going on in the world. This is somehow a reflection of what's going on in the Shemayim. What's important about what's going on is it's because it tells us what's going on in the Shemayim. Because everything in Gashmis has to do with what's going on in the Shemayim. That's why Chazal understood so clearly that the Bayesheni was nechra mipnei sinas chinam. You can't just look at anything that's going on in this world. This is the essence of being a Maimon and being a Jew. That there's nothing that goes on in this world which is independent of its neshama b'shamayim, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'nishmas hakol hu Hashem Yisbarach v'nimsa Hashem Yisbarach kollel olam malei ruchni kazeh hagashmi anir lo. So you have a spiritual world. Like, think of it this way, because that's an important concept. You have Yerushalayim Shel Mata, Yerushalayim Shel Mala. So what's the Yerushalayim Shel Mala? There's a Kaisel, there's a Mizbeach. What's going on in the Yerushalayim Shel Mala? What's the point of Yerushalayim Shel Mala? The pshat is that what we see in the Yerushalayim Shel Mata is a reflection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Kodesh HaKadoshim. As Yeshayahu said, "Koyamar Hashem Hashemayim Kisi va'aretz hadoim ragloi." It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's world somehow mirroring its image into this world. Va'olam zeh ha'nikra. Now, what is this? Now we're going to learn a little Kabbalah. Va'olam zeh, this world that we're talking about, which is which is the microcosm? Lamalo or Lamata? Which is the real Yerushalayim? Yerushalayim Shel Mala or the Yerushalayim Shel Mata? Yerushalayim Shel Mala. When you talk about like the possibility of a Beis Hamikdash Shel Eish coming from Shemayim when Mashiach comes, we're talking about that Yerushalayim Shel Mala is expressing itself in Yerushalayim Shel Mata. Doesn't mean that we're not building it. It's the expression. That's the positive shot in the Beis Hamikdash Shel Eish. So this world that has the whole olam in it, on a ruchniistic level, olam zeh nikru b'fiyam mekubalim chachmei emes. The mekubalim call this b'lashonim hamishli in their metaphoric language olam ha'atzilus. We always hear about Azilus, Briah, Yitzir Asiya. This is the olam of Azilus. The reason I want to learn this together is because here he's explaining exactly what Azilus means. Azilus is not the be-all and end-all of the Shemayim. It's just the beginning. It's as far as a human can go.
That's where they're both one.
Echad, yes. So the world of Atzilus, just to get this clear, we live in the world of Asiya. On top of us, the world of Yitzira. On top of us, the world of Briah. And on top of that, the world of Atzilus. What we understand is that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, it started off Kiviyachal, the machshava to create the world started off in the world of Azilus. It started to take form in the world of Briah, more form in the world of Yitzir, until it gets to the coffee. So that's the way it's going on. The Azilus is not only as far as we can understand, it's as far as we need to understand. What do we need to understand the rest of infinity for? We're in this world. If you don't understand anything, so you live in this world, you survive. You're in the world of Asiya. If you understand science and how things form and how cells form, maybe you'll understand, you can reach as far as Yitzira, get a world like what's really going on in this chemically and molecularly. And if you really, really want to, and if you're a Makubal, you can understand the world of Azilus. So Azilus means, what are you understanding? This is a Chiddush Nifla, Rabbi said. What are you understanding in the world of Azilus? You're understanding the Kavanah, you're understanding Yerushalayim Shel Malach. That's Azilus. You're not understanding anything more than that, because more than that is beyond anybody's comprehension. You can't get as far, the Mekubalim say you can get as far as understanding what the machshava or the neshama is behind, which is powering that which we're seeing and holding in our hands.
If Nefesh he's comparing Nefesh to Azilus?
Nefesh and neshama.
So could it be Dugma then means blueprint, because Azilus is the blueprint for what's going to manifest?
Yeah. It's hard to know what's the mashal, what's the nimshal.
Well, but Dugma could be a blueprint.
Dugma, right. What else is it? What else can it be?
In other words, it's a plan, it's a structure.
As opposed to an example, you mean?
As opposed to yeah.
So, a blueprint is an example.
Yeah.
That's what it
This
is.
is what's your apartment's going to look like.
Right. If you talk English like an Israeli kid, so you'll say, this is an example. Right, the dugma. Like instead of saying me too, it's even me. But like, I don't know why there's certain things that Israeli kids say. Even I want a candy. So the dugma. Yeah.
In terms of this concept of not understanding eternity, is it correct to say that we're basically constitutionally unable to understand it because of the limitations of, let's say, the understanding of time that Hashem imposes upon us? Time is a creation of Hashem, like in Hashem's world.
Could be time is still in the world. It's in a lower world. Could be time is kid stuff. Like maybe that goes into the world because that's already something Hashem created was time. Right. So I don't understand time. By the way, I've been struggling with time for all my life. So I come late all the time.
Is it correct to say that while Hashem is talking to Moshe Rabbeinu, he's talking to the Shiach, he's looking at us now?
Yeah, it's all right.
All going on, but
100%.
The idea of a time pattern is like, okay, Hashem imposed that on this world. For whatever reason,
it's for sure correct.
That's why we can't understand it.
Let me say it the way he's saying it, but I want to go further because I don't want to fall into a Gashmias trap here. But what we're saying is that the world as we see it, we can understand. We can understand it politically. We can understand it scientifically. The more they sit in laboratories and try to work things out, the more they'll figure out. It's ingenious. I think Einstein said that with everything that you understand now, do you understand God better? So he says it's like somebody trying to touch the clouds, so he stands up on a chair. Which is his whole theory of relativity, right? That's relative to the sky. I'm still, but it's how much do we understand? So we can understand that Hashem gave us a world. We can understand the world. It's possible it's amazingly possible to take blood tests and X-rays and see what's going on inside the body and be able to analyze it even correctly sometimes. Analyze the information, how to manipulate it. You can engineer fruits and vegetables. It's hafla of a fellow. The chachma of Adam is hafla of a fellow. But we understand was state. We understand what it is. I mean, just look at this machine right here. It's a pliyat summa, if it works. Is it working? It's a pliya. Like this is the culmination of 5,000 years of human wisdom to come to a place that, and it's almost spiritual in nature. In other words, something is going up to an invisible place and it's coming prohibited visible place to a physical place. It's almost spiritual nature, but it's not. It's in the world of Asiya, and what we understand could be in the world of Yitzira, where we try to understand how things take shape. We could even get to Briah, and if you're a Makubal, he says, the Lashon HaMakubalim, Lashon, and he says the Lashon, it's also a mashal. Azilus means two things. What's important to understand. Azilus means Eitzel, meaning that's as close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as we can get. Eitzel Hashem. And Azilus also means Vayetzal min haruach asher olav ala zakenim. There's this idea of Moshe Rabbeinu was standing there, he had a ruach, and Vayetzal min haruach ala zakenim. Somehow or another he gave what he had, gave forth to the zakenim that were around him. There's the whole taina on Eldad and Meitad. You weren't part of that group. How do you saying nevuah? The nevuah has to come somehow through Moshe Rabbeinu. So Vayotzal min haruach, Atzili. So what they become, the mashal is a good mashal, I think, because what it means to say is that if you wanted to understand all of these zakenim, so theoretically you could look at Moshe Rabbeinu and understand everything because it all came from him. But it got divided into 70 different parts, so you have 70 different aspects of Moshe Rabbeinu. Just like, they always say that, came from Slobodka before Europe, came the Rav Aaron Kotler and Rav Hutner and Rav Ruderman and the Chavetz Chaim, the Rav Leibowitz, Rav David Leibowitz, and Rav Avigdor Miller. They all came from Slobodka, but they're all completely different. If you say Lakewood's the same as Ner Yisrael, everybody gets insulted.
No.
But they both had the same Rebbe. The Rebbe were Chavrusas in Slobodka. So the answer is that's the beauty of Slobodka. Everybody was an individual. That's exactly it. That everybody comes out differently. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or let's take Moshe Rabbeinu, easier example. Moshe Rabbeinu is Vayotzal min haruach al shivim hazakenim. Now all these shivim zakenim were something different. So now let's take it to a place where our brains don't usually go. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu is from the world of Azilus, which is the bottom of infinity, but that's where it is reflecting onto this world. So everything is in the Yerushalayim Shomala and the New York Shomala, Lahavdil, and everything Shomala is up in this world of Azilus, but it's in a ruchnius fashion where nobody can touch it or feel it or diagnose it. But as it comes out, you can see it. It's like I gave a mashal the other day, just like you can see a picture on your phone, on your smartphone. And where's it coming from? The cloud. Where the cloud? There's nobody who can see the cloud and see. You have to have the instrument, right? So this is the gashmius of the ruchnius, and that is what the world of Atzilus is, which is so important. As you said, that the thing about Atzilus is over there, everything is chad. Everything is echad in the world of Atzilus. Makes it a little bit more difficult. It's still part.
Why more difficult?
Why is it more difficult? Because how can you understand all of us being one? How can you understand the table and the cup being one? In the world of Atzilus, everything is one, so it's more difficult for me to understand how the Yerushalayim Shalmata, so it has a Mizbeach HaPnim, it has a Mizbeach HaChitzon, it has Kohanim, it has all kinds of chambers. The Mizbeach, the Yerushalayim Shalmata is all Echad. Who understands Echad? It's hard to understand Echad, but what we can understand, you see how, just look how a baby's born. I had a granddaughter this morning. Just reminded myself.
So you're allowed to be late.
That's what I was like.
Rabbi, just tell us what you don't have a grandchild.
Maybe it's like a prism.
It's like a prism, but what I'm saying, what I want to say with a grandchild or a child, is that also, like, it starts from an echad, and how it comes out into a person is gewalt. Okay, so there maybe there is some kind of a scientific process, some kind of a genetic engineer who can look at the tipa of the beginning of a child and say, okay, this one's going to be smart, or this one is going to be handsome, or this one's going to be ugly, or this one's going to win the Eurovision, or something like that. Maybe you could all see it in the tipa srucha but even if there isn't, maybe there will be. But echad is hard to understand. But the world of Atzilus, what we need to understand is in the world of Atzilus, everything that we see here is be'echad, and from Atzilus there was a dibur. So the Briah, and it's so simple, by the way, it's so simple that the Briah means that the world went, Breishis bara Elokim, is the world went from Atzilus to Briah. You understand? It's the whole thing. The whole thing that we have here is that the world went from Atzilus to Briah. It was there for eternity. But this Kilu Machshava V'Kadosh Baruch Hu came out in Dibur, Basarim Amaris Nivra Ha'elam. And since it came out in Dibur, so we have a world here.
Could be like Sabatka. The intent is one intent to produce individuals, which are separate.
Beautiful. But it's beautiful. It's not only is there a common denominator between them, what's the intent?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So manifestation is
write a
one
book.
plan. It's one plan, and it manifests in individuation.
Yeah, saying a beautiful thing. It's the same thing with the world. There's only one intent. That the echad is so important, and we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. It's intuitive to the neshama to say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad.
Is that to say that the intent in the Shemayim, right, it manifests itself into individual things, but yet, as you said, that the goal always comes back to the same thing. And that goal is a manifestation, the real manifestation of what's going on in
Of Hashem Echad.
Everything else is really just a distraction, just along the path around.
You see, look at if you have a good shidduch, so your two halves of a neshama became one. But it's not. It's the other way around. It says the one became these two halves. So the neshama starts in one, and if you go higher in the neshamas, all those ones are ones. So there's an achdus of the whole male, the whole Bnei Yisrael, and if you go even higher, there's an achdus of the whole world. And that's why when we break the achdus, see when the soldier who just was in jail for shooting an Arab when he was taken with us, Chiloni, as far as I know, Chiloni, his parafamily is Chiloni, everything but they dropped him off at the house, and there was like a big party waiting for him. And you watch it on Arut Sheva, they all started screaming Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. This doesn't happen in Indonesia. I don't think it's somehow or another. There was the neshama, the echad of the Briah came out when the Mashiach comes. So we'll see an echad also. What does an echad mean? An echad means how everything who seems so random has some kind of a purpose. It's like all like pieces of a puzzle. When you put it together, it's echad. Echad. Puzzle. You put the puzzle together, it's echad. It's a davar echad. It's no longer 563 pieces. But the 563 pieces, so what's going to happen if I lose a piece? Okay. So you look at the Bnei Yisrael, so it's all these different pieces, but it's not different pieces. It's all echad, and we have to make it into echad. But this is a reflection of the world of Atzilus. V'hainu shehi ma'achdus Hashem Yisbarach. Everything comes from this echad. V'lakach karua netzal v'loy nivra. In Lashon Kabbalah, he means creations are not called creations; they're called ne'etzolim. Atzilus projects into the ne'etzolim. Moshe Rabbeinu. This was what was projected out like a projector. Projected out Beis Habriya Ratzalemer. Sha'Hashem Yisbarach Echad Yachid Meyuchad. Bein Shaychat's like klal chiluk koichos klal. It's beneath HaKadosh Baruch Hu to start dividing himself into pieces. Kol koichos gam kem yuchadim boy. There's I think a lot about the fact that there's something to be said for we ourselves becoming echad. What happened in Golus? What did Esther say? Achashverosh, or what did Haman say to Achashverosh, for that matter? That here's an am mefuzar or mefayrad bein ha'amim. They're stranded scattered puzzle pieces all over the world. So they don't come together as the echad. They're no longer a manifestation of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Can't hear. Yes, no, I'm echad. Look what happened. Very nice. Look what happened. When I say myself, ourselves, yourselves, like you can get involved in doing 100 different things. But you're working, you're learning, you're busy with your marriage, your parenting, your grandparenting, you're keeping up aim, or you could do echad. You could do echad. It doesn't mean any of those things fall by the wayside. It just means that they all have to be integrated into echad. That's an integrated person. The more we can integrate ourselves, the more we understand how to make decisions of what we should do and what we shouldn't do every step of the way. It all comes down to.
It could take a lifetime, maybe.
We're there.
Sometimes more than one lifetime. Sometimes.
We see with David HaMelech. David HaMelech said, Acha shalti me'es Hashem oisavake shivtu v'es Hashem kol yimei chayei. And then it goes on to say all the different requests of David HaMelech. He goes, Acha shalti me'es Hashem. I only have one thing. It's like, what is this, a trick? Acha shalti me'es Hashem oisavake shivtu v'es Hashem kol yimei chayei. Lachzos v'noi Hashem l'vakar v'elokitz v'neini b'sukei b'yoyra yastirei b'susei. Protect me from enemies. Don't let me fall into pitfalls. Don't help me with my wife. So many different requests he has. So the Chazal, ad kedei kach, Chazal say, what do you mean Acha shalti? Well, how can you say Acha shalti? The chutzpah to say Acha shalti when you have right there 17 requests right in that capital. Not to mention the whole Tehillim is a book of requests or requests of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you know what the Medrash says? The Medrash says that David HaMelech answered him, Bimcha Lamadati. I learned for you because you said, all you ask me is one thing, right? Just have your Shemayim, or right? So that means that I've got to sit there and read, documents before I walk into a restaurant to eat a potato chip. Like I've got to sit. But how does that come into the? There's so many millions of things that you have to do. 613 minimal, many of your abundance. So many things that I've got to worry about all day long. So it would be beautiful if we lived in La La Land and Kim Leroy. See, that was David HaMelech's answer. So what kind of an answer is that? Like you did it, I can do it too. What's the answer? The answer is that in the all the Taryag mitzvahs and all the drabbanans and all the chumras and all the anhagas and all the musar, it's all achas. It's Kim Leroy. See. So David HaMelech says all of the different requests that I have in my life, it's all achas shalti me'es Hashem. It really only comes down to achas, just like 613 mitzvahs, and then the Nevi'im made it smaller and smaller and easier to grasp. Ad sheba chavakuk v'hamidoy al achas, tzadik b'emunah yichya. Everything is one. Everything's one. Tzadik b'emunah. So the achas is, I believe, something, just a personal thing, something that we need to strive for in our own lives. The achas. Like somehow everything should fit. Pieces of the puzzles have to come together. It's a goal. It takes a lifetime, but it's a goal to make it all work together. And you're responsible in every area. But I'm telling you, giving you a good eitzah that if you're all over the place, then nothing is a jack of all trade, masters none. You can't do it. You can't have two things.
Moshe says on that measure, she says it boils down to Dreikus.
Okay.
What? The bakers?
Same thing.
Yeah. Everything you do.
I think so often about a very well-known memra of Rav Hutner. That's where the story apparently was that he was talking to somebody and he came out in his waiting room and he found in the waiting room waiting to speak with him when he was here in Eretz Yisrael, he found I forgot who, but the head of the NRP Mizrahi movement and Rav Amram Bloy sitting and schmoozing. So, they're political enemies, like religious Zionists. It's like an oxymoron. But they're sitting and schmoozing, because people are normal and the conversation interesting, so politically we hate each other. So the Rav Hutner said a point that, a person can have, you can look at them and you can say, well, they have one side of them, which is at the Hafganas, and he's at Hafgana and he's at Yom Ha'atzmaut parade or Yom Yerushalayim parade. That's one way of looking at it. Or you could say that it's all there's two dinim. There's two dinim. Like one thing is we're both Jews. We both care about the right thing. We're both worried about the right thing. You have one way of doing it. I have another way of doing it. But it's all echad. So Rav Hutner said on himself. He says, I pride myself in having a big house. Meaning you could have a lot of different houses. This is the house where I sew in. This is the house that I learn in. This is the house that I daven in. Or you could have a bayis gadol. You could have a house. It means it's mine. A house that can has a lot of rooms. There's a lot of rooms in my house, and you could be a breit to cup. It's something, the breitkeit, the Ravchus is something, I think, which it's so lacking because people are so into Baruch Hashem, we've been trying to get so into the detail of it that we forget the whole world around it. But to see the whole gestalt of the whole Briah, or of our whole life, this is the echad. We're going from a world of echad, yachid, meyuchad, all these beautiful words. Ein shaichetz like klal chiluk kitois klal. Nothing can kochas klal, rather nothing can be broken up into pieces. Shekol hakoiches gam kem yuchadim ba. Hine, just one more line. Habriya, when it went from Azilus to Briah, next step. Ratza Hashem Yisbarach livrei koiches shoynais v'nifradais. Now the whole idea is let's separate it. Let's sort it all out. Let's take this one light, like you said, a prism. You can take one ray of light and see how many different colored lights, how many gavonim are in that one ray of light, right? That's what you said. That's the beauty of the Briah. The beauty of the Briah is how it comes out so colorful, like a rainbow. You can't have Briah in Azilus, because in Azilus everything is echad. It's not colorful. Whereas over here, when you break it down, all this is light. So you need that prism of Azilus to Briah to make everything divide out. Hence, says Reb Tzadok, so what we see in the Briah, and this is just so, let me explain to you what it means and how important it is. What we see in the Briah are all the different rays of colors and all the different rays of lights that were until now in a place of Hashem Echad, Yachid, and Miyuchad. Hence, Hashem wanted all these colors to come out, so everybody's different. That's why we have a situation where Kishem She, Partzufeim Einim Shoynais, Deyoseim Einim Shoybais. Everybody has to be different. The minute, I always say this, the worst thing I heard ever in my life from a Machanech is he said the purpose of Chinuch is that everybody's born a little bit different, and we got to get them all to be the same.
I'll be dark.
I'll be dark. Be dark. I heard it in a speech at a convention. Havel of a Vela, right? Right? No, it's painful to even hear such a thing, but he thought that was the way it should be. Like everybody's a little bit different. It's the job of a Rebbe to knock that junk out of him, and get them all to be different, get them all to be the same. And what's the Abbas? The Abbas is that everybody when they're born looks more or less the same. But now you have to take the good Rebbe is the one who's going to be able to see every different type of a person and see something different and say, oh, you have to be this, you have to be that. It's impossible. You can't have a school that does this, I'm telling you. You can't have an educational system that does. It's too confusing. How many teachers can you have? How many different types of extracurricular activities can you have? How many different books and textbooks can you use if you're going to work babish lefi kol echad ve'echad? So that's the Gemara says b'diavad. The whole idea of school is b'diavad. Like what are you supposed to do? But at least philosophically, you should understand that everything's different. So this is the very deep part. Not just respecting somebody who's different than you. It's like red respecting blue. It's not. This is what the Briah is, going from echad, yachid, miyuchad to gavonim harbe, which is the transitional world from Azilus to Briah, and we still didn't get to where I want to go. We'll get there on Thursday, Mir Hashem, where we understand, where we're going to Bez Hashem understand what does it mean that as Hashem is in the Briah. There's aspects of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Briah, meaning that Azilus goes to Briah, and this is the tzimtzum, the correct way, I believe, after years of searching, the correct way of understanding the tzimtzum of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in this paragraph.
That's on the